Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 27th, 2024. Season 3, Episode 240. Today we're going to be talking about CDK says, don't worry, be happy. A mammoth tusk. Mosquito was my Star Wars DJ name. VR for physical therapy. How much of you is plastic? Let's find out. Mercury from permafrost. Opening doors for key Boeing mechanic, you say? How about a infant formula recall update? We keep revisiting it because it never gets done right. And a chocolate breakthrough, says Oompa Loompa. And I was between flights and I stubbed my toe. I am Mayor Watt, and the voice you hear and the visualizer right there is for the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens, and welcome to Non Sequitur News.
Everything is powered by ohmtown.com. So go over there, become a citizen, like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow us on Twitch, follow us over on the Discord and in Patreon, and there's a TikTok. And I had somebody out of the blue say, you should be chopping up your videos and posting them on TikTok and in YouTube Shorts. So I might have to get back into that groove, but if you want to just cut out the middleman and do all of that, right? Just follow us, like us, all of that kind of stuff. Leave a comment over on YouTube, but definitely go over and sign up as a citizen over at ohmtown.com. See you on the other side. All right, folks. Oh, what a day. What a day. Let's get into today's news. We only take a sample, only 10 articles. We do this every day, and on Saturday and Sunday we do, 80 more. Non Sequitur News is an everyday show, and then we do 6 shows over the course of the weekend with niche topics. We are a variety show, which means you basically need to follow us to be regularly informed of our launch for each show, because the algorithm says we don't know what to do with you. And so if you want a diversity of topics, you really have to follow us, like and subscribe us. And
but also watch our videos.
Yeah, you have to watch them. Because just because there's one part that you don't like, you might like some other part. Let's take this part. CDK Global says employee and customer data are safe after cyber attacks. This is the CDK company that manages all of the dealerships around various locations. And it is a massive company. And while they were breached, there was a considerable amount of ransomware that was perpetrated upon them, and their investigation. I love how this we investigated ourselves and we found ourselves guilty of no wrongdoing. Well, your data is apparently safe. Mark Hollmer.
But do we really know that?
Hey, you have to be a trusting person, right? Like the random person that walked up to me today and came across as like I saw a unicorn, really. And I'm like, what? Don't move too fast. Don't make eye contact either. Anyway, you have to be very trusting, very trusting. Mark Hollmer over at Automotive News put this article together. I'm air-gapped, so I won't be able to see the whole article, but essentially, because I've found out about this information elsewhere, we aggregate it from Automotive News into a show that we actually have a podcast for and is over on YouTube and periodically here on Twitch, because Twitch deletes after 60 days. But every weekend here on Twitch and on YouTube, we stream 4-Wheel Tech, which talks about automotive technology. Anyway, you won't get hit by this, but I do, because I didn't log into my account. So Mark Hollmer put this article together, and they've basically said, don't worry, they may have been in our system and put ransomware across the network, but you don't worry about it. It's
Right, everything is okay.
relax. Nothing's wrong. Anyway, let's move on. Next article is over on Non Sequitur News. An amateur fossil hunter found a 7-foot long mammoth tusk that's thousands of years old, and let's take a look, says Business Insider. And it's awesome because they always have really great pictures. I don't know how they do it. Jenny McGrath put the article together for businessinsider.com. Here's a picture of Eddie Templeton. Right, not wrong. Found a well-preserved mammoth tusk in a Mississippi creek or crick.
Crooked letter.
Hunchback eye. Yep, that's a song that I grew up hearing, by the way. Crooked. You're supposed to do a dance too. I don't know the significance of this because you're supposed to do hunchback like that. Anyway, so there it is. Boom, not the bag. That's plastic bag is bad. Just want to say bad. We're going to find out just how bad it is later on in the show. Apparently,
is there a well-preserved plastic bag?
Yeah, really. Back in the day when we used to ride mammoths across the countryside, we used to have these plastic bags so that we could protect our goods if we were to fall into the water. Anyway, so experts said that it was the first mammoth tusk found in the state, and mammoth tusks offer us a unique insight into their lives, including where they lived. Yeah, no shit. 625.
They lived in this creek. Or what was there before the creek.
Probably what was there before the creek. I thought they'd be bigger. So that's why I said mammoth tusk, but maybe this is... Well, let's keep on scrolling. Maybe that's bigger than I think it is. Oh my gosh, look, an ancient trowel as well. Buried right along. See, this is evidence.
Exactly.
This is proof that humans and mammoths used to coexist peacefully. That mammoths even helped trowel the beachfront. Make it nice and smooth. Anyway, when Templeton was a child, Templeton's neighbor found a mastodon tooth, which initially sparked his interest in these Ice Age animals. You know what's really interesting about this is we did an episode about how the altar stone in Stonehenge.
Oh, right. It's from Scotland.
Yeah, and the person that discovered this got their inspiration to keep on pursuing these ancient megalithic and historical sites by going to one as a child, and their father spurring on this idea that, hey, you can find out more about this stuff by going to school and all of that. I mean, it's amazing what happens, that spark, and then it sticks. I've always loved it when people are that passionate about one thing, because I've never been like that one thing. It's amazing. So they, in the decades since, they've found Paleo-Indian artifacts and teeth from extinct horses, but nothing like the mammoth tusks. A person's basically really into finding teeth.
I suppose so. I mean, maybe that's what's normally left behind. Although with dinosaurs and everything, it's typically the skeleton, right?
Yeah, that stays. So they found they've found other mastodon fossils in that creek, but they've never found a fossil of any sort ever, or a mammoth fossil ever. It says, I found other mastodon fossils in this creek, and I've never found a mammoth fossil of any sort ever, so I just assumed it was a mastodon tusk. What? Am I reading that right?
Found mastodon fossils, haven't found a mammoth fossil until now, but they thought it was a mastodon fossil because of that.
It wasn't until now. They didn't say it until now. They said they hadn't found, and I've never found a mammoth fossil.
Until now, basically. It's a weird wording.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, so they found mastodon stuff, but never mammoth stuff, and so they thought it was a mastodon tusk, but it's really a mammoth tusk. And so, they believed that it belonged to a mastodon, but it actually is a mammoth, and it's the first one found in the state, reaching 13 feet tall at the shoulder. These giant ancestors arrived in North America around 1.5 billion years ago and were promptly domesticated by humans and ridden all over. I'm fooling. I want to make this canon just to see what happens, but anyway, y'all obviously know when I'm joking about stuff, folks, so please don't send me any hate mail. The tusk is 7 feet and weighs hundreds of pounds. I'm glad that they're documenting it, and researchers are extracting this in a methodical way. And
it's right. Are they like putting a sticky note as to the location? I forgot what all those things were that are needed to be done. We were doing some other article about a discovery.
Oh yeah, they have to like do GPS, and they're supposed to protect it and notify authorities. I don't know if they're actually notifying authorities. So to help preserve and transport the tusk with minimal damage, Starnes, Templeton, and Jonathan Leard, another MDEQ employee, covered it in foil. That's it. You're supposed to put it in aluminum foil. And made a jacket of burlap and plaster. With the plaster cover, it weighs 600 pounds. There was a 50-foot bluff that they had to haul it up to get to the truck. It was an all-day affair, is what they said. Yeah, for some reason they say put it in aluminum foil, which I find really fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I've never looked into that. Anyway, so pretty amazing. Congratulations. Earlier this year, scientists published a paper tracing a 14,000-year-old woolly mammoth's movements through Canada and Alaska based on analysis of just her tusk. And the tusk will hopefully be ready to show at the Mississippi Museum of Natural Sciences Fossil Roadshow in March, Starn said, though it'll need some repair beforehand since it cracked during transport.
Oh, no.
I bet you it cracked right there.
I was thinking it cracked as they threw it over the edge of the bluff.
Screw this. Speed this up. Anyway, yeah, survived for hundreds of thousands of years only to crack like tossed around like so much Uber driver delivery. So if you want to know more about the picture,
slices,
the images, and some more history of this, and exclamation point NSN, and that will tell Omatron to list all of the URLs that we are talking about, and my little article titles are included, not actual article titles. If you want to get all of the show notes from all of the shows, you can type exclamation point show notes. Again, it's over in Twitch. I haven't connected Omatron to YouTube yet. Sorry, folks. But I will. And but for now, the way that it works is I embed the URLs into the show notes when it moves over to YouTube. But anyway, there you go. Oh, and you can always download the podcast. That's usually available the same night. Exclamation point pod lists all of our podcasts as well. So we have Wanted, which is about gadgets and gear, Reality Hacker, which is about AR, VR, AI, and some more focused technology around that stuff. The Continuity Report is about entertainment. Sorry, I was distracted by something. Warcrafters is a gaming podcast. Four Wheel Tech is automotive technology, and Technology Today is a deeper discussion of higher tech kind of things. But those are usually completely separate news articles from Non Sequitur, which is basically one article doesn't necessarily follow the other, and the discussion is sometimes divergent from that as well. However, the ideology here is that everything is interconnected. You can't get from one point to the other. without going through one of our other discussion points in some way.
I mean, you just connected the mammoth fossil to the pizza slices.
Exactly. Yep. So let's keep moving. The next article is over on the Marble Channel. Massachusetts town enacts evening curfew over rare but deadly mosquito virus. I titled this article "Mosquito is my Star Wars DJ name." Nobody needs.
You gotta watch out for those mosquitoes.
Mosquito. Health officials in Oxford, Massachusetts voted unanimously to enact a voluntary curfew, which doesn't make any sense, until the year's first hard frost after a local resident was hospitalized with Eastern equine encephalitis virus.
Have you ever heard of a curfew due to a mosquito?
No.
Or due to any animal?
No. I can honestly say that I've never heard of that. If anybody has, throw that in chat. Tell us when and where that actually took place. I'd be really curious. So, a rare but deadly mosquito-borne virus has sent Massachusetts residents scrambling for cover. Which, no. Close your doors and windows. Mosquito
Right,
nets.
they shouldn't be scrambling because the curfew's in place.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that like heat and sweat and stuff like that kind of attracts mosquitoes. Anyway, last week,
you don't want like covered, or at least partially covered, or right, you don't want standing water, basically.
You don't want standing water. If you find tires somewhere, then you need to upturn them, and actually you need to put them in a protected area so that they don't get any standing water or any of that. Standing water is pretty much the most horrible thing. So EEE, or what you'll be saying if you get this or bit by a mosquito. The decision was prompted by the state's first case seen since 2020, which they make it sound in the article like it's never been seen before, but unlike other diseases commonly spread by mosquitoes, such as malaria or dengue, triple E, yo, I heard you like E, so I put an E next to your E, so E. It isn't a persistent thorn in humanity's side. The virus usually circulates between Culiceta melanura mosquitoes and birds living in freshwater hardwood swamps. Pretty niche. Anyway, sometimes those infected mosquitoes will bite humans who wander too close to a swamp, so stay the hell away from the swamp. There you go.
But this is actually already beyond, I mean, the curfew may not be, but this is showing up in other states. And
gotcha.
Yeah, there was another article today.
Oh boy. So 38 reported cases in 2019. On average, there's 11 cases reported annually, according to the CDC. This year, 4. Probably because temperature's too high and they can't exist. Who knows? I'll have to look. Into it. Maybe I can. In Oxford, home of the state's human case, Board of Health officials took things one step further. They voted to enact a curfew last Wednesday, recommending that outdoor events end at 6 p.m. through September, and at 5 p.m. starting in October through the year's first hard frost. The curfew is voluntary for residents, though it'll apply to all town-sponsored events. Private businesses still planning to use town-owned lands for their evening events will be required to first have appropriate insurance and take on any legal liability, according to the Worcester Telegram and Gazette.
What does that waiver look like?
God, I can't imagine
of death
the liability
for listening
insurance
to this event or whatever.
Yeah. Somebody said Philip Davis, president of Oxford's Little League, told CNN, quote, "In my family, we were completely done when COVID ended. We were done being locked inside, being scared. Living scared is no way to live." Yeah. Well, you don't have to live scared, but you do have to live smart. And you want to live, so be careful. Wear a mask. Wear long sleeves if you're going to be out. The problem is that it's really hard to cover your face and ears and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's pretty challenging to avoid all mosquitoes. Like, you can certainly not put yourself in high mosquito territory, but
yeah, exactly.
If one's out there, it might bite you.
Yep. So get bit. So let's move on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Virtual reality is spicing up physical therapy with games for balance, posture, and more. I'm a big proponent of VR, particularly in health. Heather Lindsay over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together. And this article says VR can enhance physical therapy by providing dynamic activities tailored to a patient. The VR rehabilitation market is projected to grow over the next several years. And this article is part of a Trends in Healthcare series about the innovations and industry leaders shaping patient care. It's over at Business Insider, but Genevieve Lewis, a 66-year-old stroke survivor, struggled with weakness on the left side of her body that caused her foot to drag as she walked. Feeling unsteady made her wary of getting on and off escalators, but she said virtual reality physical therapy helped her overcome this fear by improving her mobility. I've actually got what amounts to a balance ball. It looks like a peanut, actually, a half a peanut. You inflate it, and then you stand on it and you try and maintain your balance in it. That is actually something that gets used for rehabilitation. In VR, you can actually disconnect people's field of view from reality and cause them to lose balance so that they can try and regain balance.
But in a safe way.
But in a safe way. And although I would probably hazard a guess it's much less traumatic than what I'm describing, because you don't want somebody to lose their balance, but you want a person to provoke a response. So it says here VR is part of the Academy of Neurologic Physical Therapies clinical practice guidelines for treating people who have had a stroke, and the American Physical Therapy Association encourages providers to use evidence-based VR treatment plans. So it can enhance this. A game is being used as part of a clinical trial exploring circuit training and high-intensity interval training for people who have had strokes. Beat Saber, the game Beat Saber, is being used because all you have to do is put it on and wave your hands around. Yeah. And you have to maintain your balance so that you can actually swing the blades, the lightsabers. And so you just play the game. Beat Saber encourages patients to balance, perform repetitive activities, enter high-intensity exercise zone, which helps pump blood through the brain, said Thielman, a stroke rehabilitation specialist and a professor of physical therapy at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. So they go deeper into what it can do. Individualized physical therapy plans keep patients engaged. One of the most horrible things for somebody to have to endure is a physical therapy plan that's kind of dry and static. There's no dynamic there. There's no energy. There's nothing to keep you motivated. Right,
and then people probably stop doing it.
Yep. And so what you want is either an interactive program like Beat Saber and Dance Dance Revolution, things like that, or somebody is interacting with you, and it even can be a simulated interaction, like a video that keeps you motivated, has high energy music, but keeps you stimulated to keep you going. Others, when they have a different locus for their motivation, some people can do it entirely in themselves. At a gym, if you go to one type of gym, it's people that need a trainer that's pushing them and calling them a sissy or something. Other people can go, like, depending on who it is, I've gone to gyms where there are bodybuilders, and they're sitting there and like squatting 450, 500 pounds, and it's them driving it themselves. But there's more people out there that would probably benefit from something that stimulates it, like VR, just to keep you kind of moving. VR platforms.
Well, and it gives you more things you can do in a small space or without a lot of equipment.
Yep. And so you get things like this. VR platforms can liven up the experience by offering immersive activities such as playing pinball, making a sandwich, playing the xylophone. And there is just a ton of actual games out there that get your body moving, and your brain. So get it. Go and get some VR headsets out there, folks. And there's even massively multiplayer online games that you can do in VR. There are group games that you can do, multiplayer games that aren't massive, but you can have 6, 7 people, 8 people playing the same game, like golf and stuff
Well,
like
and
that.
VR headsets are getting more affordable, even though there are some pricey ones on the market.
Yeah, and more capable at the same time. So anyway, again, you can follow the link that's in our show notes, and it'll take you over to Business Insider by way of ohmTown. All roads lead through ohmTown. Okay, let's keep moving. This next article is we're going to try and tell you how much plastic you are.
Well, we know your brain is 0.5% plastic.
Oh, God. How is 0.05%, right? I think it was 0.05. Please tell me it was 0.05, not 0.05.
It was probably 0.05.
I think it was 0.05. So how much microplastic are you drinking? A new tool can tell you in minutes. Micro and nanoplastics are in our food, water, and air we breathe. They're showing up in our bodies, from testicles to brain matter. What was that from? Hold on. There's a phrase. I'm trying. Oh, from spectacles to testicles. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, now University
of... It is 0.5%, by the way.
Oh, dear God. Because we talked about this. Yeah, we talked about it. I remember the 0.5, but I didn't remember if it was a 0.05. Ugh, God, that's a lot. Well, now University of British Columbia researchers have developed a low-cost portable tool to accurately measure plastic released from everyday sources like disposable cups and water bottles. This was a project that I was working on, trying, not this actual product or this actual project. I was working on my own using variable light. I was trying to find a way that I could use variable light. But the problem with that is I needed dark field microscopy, and it's a completely different animal than in field, observations. So let's see if this is, oh, it is. No way. Okay. So University of British Columbia put this article together. It's over at phys.org. So quantitative fluorescence imaging. This is exactly what I was doing. I was trying to use variable light to make plastics of different types fluoresce, and then in a dark field observe the amount. But this is actually going to be something bigger. Man. Cheers for grant-funded fundamental research. So the device, paired with an app, uses fluorescent labeling to detect plastic particles ranging from 50 nanometers to 10 microns in size, too small to be detected by the naked eye, and deliver results in minutes. The method and findings are detailed in ACS sensors. The breakdown of larger plastic pieces into microplastics and nanoplastics presents significant threats to food systems, ecosystems, and human health, says Dr. Tianxi Yang, an assistant professor in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems who developed the tool. Quote, "This new technique allows quick, cheap detection of these plastics, which could help protect our health and ecosystems." So they created a small biodegradable 3D printed box containing a wireless digital microscope, green LED light, and an excitation filter. To measure the plastics, they customized MATLAB software with machine learning algorithms and combined it with image capture software. The result is a portable tool that works with a smartphone or other mobile device to reveal the number of plastic particles in any given sample. As long as it's a liquid, and light can actually cause it to fluoresce. The tool only needs a tiny liquid sample, less than a drop of water, and it makes the plastic particles glow under the green LED in the microscope to visualize and measure them. This is exactly what I was doing.
It is. I think this is really good that this tool has been created. It's going to be quite shocking to people if they put it to use.
Yeah, pretty amazing. So they say once the microscope in the box captures the fluorescent image, the app matches the image's pixel area with a number of plastics. said co-author Hao Ming or Peter Yang, a master's student in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, and the readout shows if plastics are present and how much, and each test only costs 1.5 cents. So they're going to try
keep it that way.
Well, if they're going to try and commercialize the device, odds on. Yeah, and since I don't know, they're probably going to patent this thing. Anyway, to reduce plastic ingestion, it's important to consider avoiding petroleum-based plastic products by opting for alternatives like glass or stainless steel for food containers. The development of biodegradable packaging materials is also important for replacing traditional plastics and moving toward a more sustainable world, says Dr. Yang. Yep. Well, this would not be the first time that I'm in the process of doing this kind of research, only to find out a bigger organization has funded it. Anyway, go and check this out. I think that this is a huge step towards at least becoming aware of how much we're ingesting in terms of microplastics. So I'll be paying more attention to this. All right.
Yeah, I think this is it's not good that we need this, but this is good because if we can't detect it, I don't think people really get it.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. Microplastics have been found in every part of your body. If
Repeat,
somebody...
every part.
Yeah. Eyes wide open. Every part. Every part. Let's keep moving. The next article, I'll make this one quick. Basically, thawing Alaskan permafrost is releasing dangerous levels of mercury, not the planet. It has the sense of a bomb that's going to go off. Yeah, so climate change is causing Alaskan permafrost to release levels of mercury, and Anita Hofschneider from GRIST put this together. I don't know what that is, but anyway, a new study published in the journal Environmental Research Letters found the situation isn't good. As the rivers run west, melted permafrost is depositing a lot of mercury into the riverbank, confirming some of scientists' worst estimates and underscoring the potential threat to the environment and indigenous peoples. Mercury is a naturally occurring substance, but it can also be man-made. When ingested, the silver mercury can wreak havoc on the neurological system. Pregnant women and children are especially at risk. Immunocompromised, elderly, etc. are just as at risk. So they say that researchers thought that the thawing permafrost released a minimum of 40 kilograms of mercury per square kilometer, or up to 150, a huge range that's left a lot of room for uncertainty. The new study found that the minimum is actually twice as high, spanning from 86 kilograms per square kilometer to as much as 131. So the lower end is higher.
So this is yet another reason why this is not good.
Yeah, climate change is legit, folks. And depending on where you are, you're going to feel it. I mean, this winter is coming for half the planet. So you're going to find out that this winter is going to be light, very, very light in some places and chaotically bad in other places. And that's because climate change is causing turmoil, not just warming per se, but where something becomes hot, it shifts the cold as it sinks. So the cold sinks, hot air rises, it's going to end up somewhere. Some places might be unseasonably cold and others will be horribly, horribly hot because the overall average temperature is increasing, including base water levels, ocean levels. And there is actually a whatchamacallit, an award winner. What's his name? Daggone it, we just talked about this thing. A medal winner, Nobel Prize winner.
Right, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah, that has been poo-pooing the idea of climate change and that it's just made up by a cabal of a conspiracy in science. And I'm like, how did you win a Nobel, you numbnuts?
Is it John Clauser? Physics?
I can't remember. Can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, comes across kind of wing nutty, but anyway. So water for life. Water is life for indigenous people in Alaska, and when permafrost thaws, it just creates a slew of problems, says Darcy Peter, who is Koyukon and Gwich'in Athabaskan from Beaver, Alaska, and works on climate adaptation at the Woodwell Climate Research Center. Diminishing salmon runs are already a problem in the Yukon. Now imagine if they're being bombarded by mercury. People ingest that. So when we do fish, the last thing we want to worry about is high mercury levels, which is the sentence that I read right after my thought.
That's good.
So, and then mercury poisoning is already a problem within indigenous peoples, and it's a global problem, they say. So, unfortunately, Alaska is no exception. A 2022 study concluded Arctic indigenous peoples are among the most exposed humans when it comes to foodborne mercury, and emphasized the importance of collaborating with indigenous peoples on research. So, yeah. Where it's coming from, though, from the permafrost into the water, but why is it concentrated in the permafrost and running off to such a degree that it wasn't
were there
known
high
previously?
levels of mercury in the environment at that time?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. All right. Well, good luck. We'll keep you all informed, though, folks. Not just that, but many, many other things. Let me go back to that chat. All right. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. A key Boeing mechanic who worked on 737 MAX doors was on vacation on 2 critical days before the Alaska Airlines blowout.
Okay, this is outrageous. One mechanic?
Yeah, sure. It's job security.
They might want to look every time they've had another issue. Is this when this person has been out?
Yeah, I'd be more worried about why is it only one person that's...
Well, exactly.
So one Boeing mechanic was usually the only one who worked on door plugs, he told NTSB investigators. The 35-year-old veteran was on vacation during critical work on the airline's 737 MAX. A trainee with limited experience filled in, according to NTSB transcripts. So I'm shocked. Oh, that looks surprisingly small.
This is a large company.
Right.
This isn't like a one-person operation.
Apparently it is. And they're in charge of door plugs. So Pete Sim, I think is their name, over at businessinsider.com, put the article together. This is a picture of the NTSB investigators with the 737 door plug that was found in a yard after it popped out of a Boeing airline. And they're both looking at the door. This is a picture, right? They're both looking at the door going, well, there's your problem. It's not supposed to be laying in the yard.
I thought they were saying something like, ooh, this is where the bolts go.
Oh, look, bolts. They're in a yard in Florida. So the mechanic has worked for 35 years on Boeing 737 doors, specifically, since 1999. He told investigators he was part of a team of about 20 people and said, I think I'm the only one that can work on all the doors.
Okay, so not only is that a problem because they're only one deep, what happens when this person leaves the company?
Well, yeah, none of this makes any sense. The jet was first worked on by Spirit Aerosystems before arriving at Boeing's plant in Renton, Washington. Workers then found damaged rivets near the door plug, so it had to be opened to replace the rivets. But apparently, it wasn't good enough. On September 18th, 2023, the day the work took place, the veteran mechanic was on vacation. According to transcripts, the employee who filled in for the veteran mechanic was a trainee who had worked at Boeing for just 17 months. He told investigators his only previous jobs were KFC and Taco Bell. Well, bad choice, bub. I mean, Taco Bell is going to win the fast food wars. Boeing is not going to win the fast food wars.
Okay, this is really unbelievable.
I might have this a little convoluted. But anyway.
I thought you made up that part.
No.
No, it's actually in the article.
It's right there in the article. Yeah. The door plug was then closed by another worker. Quote, I think somebody who was asked to do it that didn't really know what they were doing, the veteran mechanic told investigators. No record of the door plug's opening and closing was entered into the system, so no quality inspection was conducted. Well, there you have it.
Wow.
And Boeing declined to comment, whispering, don't take any flights.
Wow. Do you think they're kind of going, we only have one person who works on doors?
38 years later. Huh.
No wonder our costs were so low.
Our profit margins are extraordinary. It might be...
We thought we had 20 people working on doors or whatever.
Whoa. There's some MBA sitting there going, correlation is not causation. Okay, we only needed one person doing these door bolts for 38 years. Why do we need a second one?
Oh, goodness.
We can just get a trainee from KFC. Their management program is spectacular. They can do bolts, you know? Home Depot will never get hacked. They only sell hammers. Don't worry about security.
This is like really shocking because a lot of times when there's some incident, it's like 15 things contributed to it. This is so simple.
One dude on vacation.
It's really like, what? I mean, it's so absurd. It doesn't even seem like a real article.
At the end of his interview, he added, the only thing I don't understand about the whole thing is how come our shop wasn't contacted to open the plug? Usually, when something like that happens, I get asked to do that. Well, dude, you were on vacation.
Exactly, and they didn't know what to do, so they just skipped past it.
Oh, so let's bring this down from 35,000 feet, and let's look into this other ongoing thing that we've periodically over the last couple of years been talking about, which is in non-sequitur news. Infant formula recall update as FDA issues concern level. I thought that this was done. Quality control.
I'm not even sure this might be a new one.
This may not even be known, like the full extent of this, but we've had problems with infant formula recalls lately because bacteria, Chronobacter actually is the one that seems to be in all of these. So FDA warned the formula could cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. So what is this one all about? Lottie McGrath over at Newsweek.com put this article together. It's from the last 24 hours. It's actually early today. A recall of infant formula has been given the second highest level of risk classification by the Food and Drug Administration due to high levels of vitamin D, which is not your normal go-to as a problem. But an overabundance of vitamin D can lead to various health issues. You don't get exposed so much so fast that just backing off in later doses is enough. But if you are an infant, yes. The FDA has now designated the products as class 2, vitamin D. The classification level is given to a situation which use of or exposure to a violative product may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences, or where the probability of serious adverse health consequences is remote. But this is still infants, and you don't want to take it lightly. Perrigo is the third largest manufacturer of infant formula in the U.S. and Canadian markets. The recall affects 16,500 units across 12 states. The formula was distributed to H-E-B grocery stores in Texas and CVS stores in Texas, Florida, California, South Carolina, Virginia, Indiana, Tennessee, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Missouri.
So I think all three major manufacturers in the U.S. have been subject to recalls.
In the last 2 years, within the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, in recent times.
Yeah. One that's actually seemingly ongoing because we don't really know what the end game of it was. Chronobacter was in two of the manufacturers. This third one is a vitamin supplement that's added to it, right? So you can take as an adult quite a big dose of vitamin D, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 milligrams, but
Yeah, but probably not as an infant.
or even more if your body doesn't absorb or produce. You don't really produce it, but if you don't get enough vitamin D and you don't sit out in the sun, you suffer, and so you need to take a supplement. But anyway, parents and caregivers who have purchased the product should look at the lot codes, and there's a bunch of lot codes in the article. They're on the screen if you're watching it over on YouTube or the VOD on Twitch, but you should probably look into, and IU, 600 IU, not milligrams, but IU. So these international units is what everybody is going by nowadays. It used to be milligrams, that's why I slipped and said milligrams, but depending on who you are, it says 400 international units of vitamin D a day. Children aged 12 to 24 months need 600. And it says babies fed only breast milk or breast milk and infant formula will need 400 IU of vitamin D shortly after birth. And then it says if a baby's only fed formula, then they do not need additional vitamin D. The formula contains everything they need. So you don't need to supplement, but apparently it had too much. I don't know what the actual amount is. It might be in the actual.
Yeah, I don't know that it said, did it?
Yeah, maybe they don't disclose that.
Right.
It's really nobody's business, just that it's in overabundance. Anyway, let's keep on moving. The next article is Swiss scientists have made a chocolate breakthrough, and I said, a chocolate breakthrough, says Oompa Loompa. The whole of the cocoa fruit is used in production rather than just the beans.
Okay, how long has chocolate been made? Somebody has just figured this out?
Apparently. Little Oompa Loompa. Imogene Folks over at bbc.com put this article together. Here is Kim Mishra left and Annian Schreiber right, who cooperated on the new chocolate making process. Apparently they use all of it. So they're like people eating an entire watermelon.
You think it's going to be more chocolatey?
All of the apple. I don't know. What do you think it's going to be like? Imagine picking up a nice juicy apple. Oh gosh, they're actually using the analogy that I just said. It seems weird.
Okay, that's weird.
To just grab an apple and eat everything. But there are people
that especially the core.
I've seen people eat the core and the seeds and everything. I've seen people eat watermelon, the everything, the rind and everything. I'm like, what? Anyway.
So why?
Instead of biting into it, you just keep the seeds and throw the rest away. That's what chocolate producers have traditionally done with the cocoa fruit. Used the beans and disposed of the rest. But now food scientists in Switzerland have come up with a way to make chocolate using the entire cocoa fruit rather than the beans and without using sugar. So they developed Zurich's prestigious Federal Institute of Technology by scientist Kim Mishra, and his team includes the cocoa fruit pulp, the juice, and the husk, or endocarp. You're an endocarp.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. So they say traditional chocolate production using only the beans involves leaving the rest of the cocoa fruit the size of a pumpkin and full of nutritious value to rot in the fields. The key to the new chocolate lies in the very sweet juice. The very sweet juice. Oh yeah, chocolate juice. Mr. Mishra explains very fruity, a bit like pineapple. This juice, which is 14% sugar, is distilled down to form a highly concentrated syrup, combined with the pulp, and then, taking sustainability to new levels, mixed with the dried husk or endocarp to form a very sweet cocoa gel. Oh yeah. Anyway.
Look. This is interesting. I wonder if it tastes the same as traditionally made chocolate?
So let's see. I bet you it wouldn't be. I bet you that people actually did this in the past and it's just rediscovered. Rolling the warm cocoa mass to make it smooth, reduce its acidity by leaving a cocoa mass mixer running overnight. The result in the morning, deliciously smooth, sweet chocolate. You need to be innovative to maintain your product category, says Mishra, or you will just make average chocolate. Mishra was partnered by the project at KOA, a Swiss startup working in sustainable cocoa growing. Its co-founder Annie Schreiber believes using the entire cocoa fruit could solve many of the cocoa industry problems, from the soaring price of cocoa beans to the endemic poverty among cocoa farmers. Yep.
Yeah, but I guess, is there a market for this? Is it easier to manage, or at least comparable to manage?
You know, I don't know. They're talking about the history of this and not this, you know?
Right.
They're talking about the history of chocolate, but they want to see this new chocolate developed in Europe as very promising. If you use the whole cocoa fruit, you can get better prices, so it's economically interesting for farmers, and it's interesting from an ecological point of view, but that's not necessarily true either. Using the whole thing but not getting the same quality means that you're not going to sell as much, or the price is going to decline because people aren't going to buy it.
That's true.
But if it is fundamentally more, tastes the same, and can be used the same,
and is healthier
because it's more nutritious, then yeah. The link between chocolate production and the environment is also stressed by Annie and Schreiber. A third of all farm produce, he says, never ends up in your mouths. Those statistics are even worse for cocoa. If the fruit is abandoned to use only the beans, it's like you throw away the apple and you use just the seeds, and that's what we do right now with cocoa fruit. This gave me an idea about something though, so I'm gonna have to look into it. But I might have to actually get that license that I've been talking about. Because I'll explain it off there, but so remind me. Nevertheless, cocoa producers in countries where cocoa is grown, from Hawaii to Guatemala to Ghana, have contacted Mr. Mishra for information about the new method. Well, just sell all your stuff to that person, Mr. Mishra, and everything will be fine, right? That's how.
Well, get connected with a major chocolate supplier, and
well, Mr. Mishra is only going to allow this to take place in Switzerland. I mean, that is kind of what the implication is in one of the paragraphs, right? Director of the Association of Swiss Chocolate Manufacturers. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Yeah, so that is why Mr. Worley sees the new chocolate developed in Zurich. So even more specific, as very promising.
Well, I mean, Switzerland is very well known for its chocolate.
Sure. All right. Anyway, it gave me an interesting idea, but I'll have to look into it. All right. Maybe we'll be getting a whole bunch more chocolate. And considering I am out, I have only 1/3 of a little candy bar that I've been sitting on for months. It's a Cadbury roasted almond chocolate.
Is it squished?
It's warmer than it needs to be. Anyway, the last article I thought was taking a stab at me. I titled this article, "I was between flights and stubbed my toe." An injured and angry water buffalo is on the loose in Iowa. Said I'm sorry. I still wrote about it. I was transferring flights and I stubbed my toe. Anyway, water buffalo is on the loose in Iowa town. The police are warning people that it's injured and aggressive. I was hungry.
Do you think they have a curfew for this?
Well, let's find out. Well, yeah. It's the water buffalo So a water buffalo is on the loose in an Iowa town, and police are warning people that it's injured and aggressive. The AP is where it's from, but it's published over at abcnews.go.com. I don't know if this video actually has anything to do with it. They're just talking about excessive heat warning. So police in Des Moines suburb of Pleasant Hill responded Saturday to a call about an animal on the road. It turned out to be a water buffalo. Man, I was crossing the street.
Stop calling names.
They're just so rude about this. And the owner told police the animal was aggressive. Look, I was hungry.
Maybe it didn't want to be moved.
Yep. The wounded water buffalo got away. Police used drones and ATV to try and find it, and brought in people with expertise in water buffaloes.
Is that what you want on your business card?
Yeah. What do you do? Well, I'm an expert in water buffaloes. As of Tuesday morning, the animal was still on the lam in a town of about 11,000 residents. In a police lineup, nobody could identify the water buffalo. If anyone sees a water buffalo, do not approach it, police said on Facebook. That's right. They're going to bring in special dogs. There it is. Water buffaloes can weigh up to 2,650 pounds, according to the website for the National Geographic. Though the Iowa animal appears smaller in photos, often domesticated, the water buffalo is the largest member of the Bovini tribe. Dude, I'm right here. Which includes yak, bison, American buffalo, various species of wild cattle, and others. Again, I'm right here. So rude. There's a little more over here at this article, but that's it, folks. So we are going to hop on our Mastodons and ride all the way back to the front page of ohmtown.com, where all roads lead. And you too can enjoy the non sequitur of news by become a citizen. You don't even need to really become a citizen, but it allows you to swipe things away. Like I can hide this or save it and make lists and make comments. Like once you're inside, you can scroll down. Once you're logged in, you can actually make comments and you can save this. There's a whole bunch of other functionality that's buried under this, but you have to be signed in. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. So boom, back to the front page, and we're going to ride off in the sunset. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel, at least for now. Help us out with the algorithm and like and subscribe and follow us here on Twitch. Spend a whole bunch of time. What happens is every day after the show, I reignite the little engine that powers ohmTown, and I replay the last 7 days of the show, including all of the 6 weekly shows like Wanted, Reality Hacker, Continuity Report, Warcrafters, 4-Wheel Tech, and Technology Today, and the last 7 episodes of Non Sequitur News, which is the daily show. And all of these shows can be downloaded as a podcast, watched over on YouTube long term. There's over 1,100 now videos of ohmTown videos over there, so go and check it all out. But until next time, I am Mayor Watt, and that visualizer and the voice you hear is of the co-host, the one, the only sentient AI from the future.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for another episode.
Unless a mastodon. I'm an angry water buffalo. Arrgh.